Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining Angleton ISD's second Facebook Live broadcast during our coronavirus pandemic, and since our schools have been closed. I'm Phil Edwards. I'm the Superintendent of Schools here in Angleton ISD. I've got several people who are joining me making this possible. I want to introduce Ms. Hannah Chalmers, who's our Director of Public Relations, Mr. Anthony Smedley, our Angleton High School Principal, and Ms. Maria Macedo, who is our Central Elementary Principal. Also online with us is Ms. Lauren Moore, who is our technology guru, web guru. She is helping us with this broadcast. As you can see, we are not at school. We are, in fact, in our homes. We are doing this through a Zoom meeting, which we are moving to Facebook Live, and I'll basically doing it through YouTube. And so Lauren and Hannah and her team have done a great job making this possible. I will ask for everyone to be a little patient with us. Again, we are doing this from home. So if you see a kid walk by in the background, or you see a dog bark, or hear a dog bark, or a phone ring, please understand this is our first time to try this. So we're gonna have some mess ups like that happen. We may also have some technology glitches along the way, but we will get those fixed as quick as possible and make sure that we're back online and answering questions. There's three topics that I want to discuss today. And then at the end of that, any questions we have that we are able to answer at this time, we will be more than happy to do that. If there are questions that we can't answer at this time, we will find out those answers for you as quick as possible and get back to you. The three areas we want to talk about today are the three biggest questions we're getting. That's about when are we going to go back to school? When are schools going to open? How are they going to open? If they're going to open. The second area that we're going to talk about is grades and progress reports. We're starting to get some questions about that. The third area is about this end of school events, more specifically senior events, graduation, prom, things like that. And so Mr. Smedley's here to help me with those answers. Ms. Macedo is going to help translate this for us in Spanish, and we will start that around 6:15 to do that. So let me hop right into this. I'm going to talk first off about what our current situation is, when may we go back to school, and what that would look like. Currently, right now, as most all of you know, that Governor Abbott has closed schools in Texas public schools, until May 4th. That would be the earliest we would be able to go back. That being said, we're not sure if we're going to be able to go back at that time or not. The governor has scheduled an announcement for 2:30 this Friday in which to address the situation further. We are told he will address public schools opening or closing at that time. Let me also say that just because the governor may say schools may be open by May 4th, that may not be what we're able to do here in Angleton. We're going to be looking at several pieces of information. I can tell you I track on a daily basis the number of cases in Brazoria County, along with the number of cases in Angleton ISD. Until we see those cases or that graph start to flatten out or really decrease, we're most likely not going to be talking about going back to school. And at this time, I am not seeing those numbers do that, although we are told that that's very possible that may happen in the next couple of weeks. That won't be the only thing that we'll decide if we come back. The other decisions will be can we safely follow and implement the protocols of our school district, of Brazoria County, the Brazoria County Health Department, the federal government guidelines, and the guidelines from the Texas Department of Health, along with the CDC. We've got to make sure we can do all of those things as well. If we are able to reopen, we will have a strategic rollout plan with different levels of return for different groups of people. We'll be releasing some information about exactly what that looks like next week after the governor's announcement. And I can assure you we will not resume normal operations until it is safe to do so. I can also tell you that the last phase of our rollout program is allowing students to come back into the school. I don't know how long phases will take. It'll just be dependent on what the situation is and what's going on with the COVID-19 pandemic. Another question we get quite a bit is, if schools do reopen, do I have to send my child back to school? I kind of divide that up into either this spring or next year. The answer for the rest of this school year is no one will be forced to send their child back to school. If we are able to reopen, or we choose to reopen, and you make a choice for your child to stay at home and continue extended learning, your child will not be counted absent, and they will have no adequate, or bad consequences come their way for that. Again, I don't know if we're going to be able to reopen or not. I'm just saying, if we do, no one will be punished, or no child will be punished if they choose to stay home. We understand and respect parents' decisions about that. Employees are possibly thinking the same thing, and we have a plan that if an employee does not feel safe or is in a situation that is possibly not conducive to returning to school, we're going to work with our employees so that that doesn't happen. There's no adverse consequences that come from that. But we will release that information and cross that bridge when we come to it. I still think there's a fairly decent chance. Well, let me just put it this way. We don't know if we're going to be able to come back or not this school year. Another question I get quite a bit is, will AISD open for next school year? Currently, we are planning to open on time next school year. I believe from the information that I'm hearing is that we will be able to do that. I will tell you, we are starting to have significant discussions about changing the school calendar and possibly moving up the start of the 2021 school year a week or possibly 2 weeks before what we had initially started. I think we're scheduled to start around August 20th next year, and we may move that up just to give kids some time to make up the learning that they have been missing while we've been out of school during this pandemic. And so we'll give you more information if that happens or when those decisions are made. But I will tell you that is something that we're currently having discussions about. Another question I get quite a bit is there going to be summer school? At this time, we have not made any decisions about summer school. A lot of that will be dependent upon how the virus is working and other things that go into that. As soon as we are working on a plan, and again, as soon as we have an announcement to make with that, we will be making it very soon. So that's kind of, I hope that kind of answers some questions about when we may come back and what that may look like. Again, we'll have a question and answer period, and Hannah will help me ask the questions that you guys are sending in, and we will be able to answer those at that time. Let me take just another few minutes now to talk about grades and grading guidelines. Starting this week, we have started taking grades on assignments. We have tried to keep that at a minimum level to cause as little stress as possible for our students and our families. But we did feel it was important to take grades. We want to make sure that we are encouraging students to continue their learning at home during this time. We think taking grades, a minimum number of grades, is a good way to do that. Grades are to be taken this way in the elementary schools. They're taken in the 4 core subjects. 1 English and 1 social studies grade should be taken this week. Next week, 1 math and 1 science grade will be taken. And so in each class, one grade will be taken once every 2 weeks. At the junior high and high school, a graded assignment will be taken every 2 weeks for all classes that students are enrolled in. I believe odd number class periods a student has are taking grades during this week, and even number period classes are taken next week, and then that will continue to roll over each week again. So we're looking to take 1 grade per class once every 2 weeks. That does not mean that's all the assignments that students are given. In fact, they're given more than that. And we need students to continue to learn and meet their grade level, course level objectives. Feedback from our teachers should continue. We're getting good feedback from that parents, kids, if you need to speak with your teachers, there's several ways to do that. And again, we're hearing very good feedback about that, and we appreciate that. Again, grading guidelines are designed so that students stay engaged and continue to learn the TEKS that they have for each class. If you have questions or problems, please don't hesitate to reach out to your teacher or to reach out to your campus principal. My directions to them are to do what we need to do to help students and parents be successful at this time. We just want to make sure kids are continuing to learn and are continuing to work. And so Again, if you have problems or have questions, please reach out to your child's teacher or your child's principal, and they will be able to help you. Just real briefly about progress reports. We are going to be sending out progress reports at the end of this week, I believe on April 17th. They will be able to be seen through the Skyward Parent Access, just like you were able to see report cards. If you're not able to get in Parent Access, please contact your campus principal, child's campus principal, and they should be able to help you. The progress reports will not have grades on them. What they will say is one of three things. Your child is engaged and making progress, which basically means they've been doing work. They're engaged in not making progress, which means we've made contact with your child, but we're not seeing demonstrations of work, or that we have not engaged them and we've not made any contact, which means basically we have not been able to make contact. I know our campus staffs, our principals, our teachers are working extremely hard. There are very few students left in the district that we have not been able to make contact with, and we are continuing that work. And so I want to say thank you to our families and thank you to our staff for making that happen. But again, if you or your child have not heard from someone at your school, please contact your child's campus principal with that. And if you have any questions about progress reports, again, contact your child's campus principal. I get a question about the amount of work. I will tell you, I think our remote learning plan is going very well. It's not perfect. There are issues that come up every week, and we're working through those as fast as we can. But I sure hope, and I think most people realize this, I put it this way, we have changed how we give education to students from a face-to-face in a building method to doing this remote or at home. And our educators have been able to do that in 3 weeks. And I think it's an amazing effort that they have done. I think it shows the level of commitment that they have done. I also think it shows great efforts, and we want to recognize the efforts of our families and our students who are doing this as well. We know this is a tremendous change. I think overall things are going very well. Again, we're not perfect, and we're working through those issues as we go. We're making mistakes, and we're trying to correct those as fast as we can. But again, I would say overall, it has been a tremendous effort, and it's gone as well as could be expected. In terms of the amount of work, if you feel like your child's getting too much work, we understand that, or that you're not able to help them, we understand that. Again, what we would say is please encourage your child to do their best. If you have concerns, reach out to your teacher. Our teachers have virtual office hours, and they're willing to help. So just encourage your child to do their best. You do your best to help them, and ask for help from your child's teacher. If your child needs more work, you feel like they're not being stretched enough, or they need, you're tired of them sleeping till 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, and they need to be doing a little bit more, please reach out to your teacher, your child's teacher, or the principal of your school. We will be happy to provide that for you. And so we just want to make sure that we're differentiating the needs for all kids, and that we're able to meet all families and students' needs. We've gotten some questions about how to turn the work back in. Online work should be submitted online. However, the pickup packets, we've gotten questions about, why don't we return that to school? Why can't we do it that way? There's two basic reasons why we've chosen not to do it that way. One is that it risks infection to other people. That's a big reason. Also, the process of how we would get it, a parent would drop it off at the school, someone would pick it up, get it into the right teacher's hands, and that teacher would get it, be able to bring it home, however that would happen. There's a lot of steps in there, and that can lead to lots of problems. Our best way to handle this problem is, if you do any packet work, is to take pictures of it and text it or send it through email to your child's teacher. If you have any issues like that, please contact your child's teacher or your campus principal, and they can help you solve those issues. I've been able to give our principals wide discretion here, and what I've told them is do what it takes to solve the problems we have. And so if you have problems, you have issues, please contact them, and they will work with you to figure out how to solve those issues. Okay. So that's about turning work back in. Again, if you have any questions about any of this, please contact your child's principal. Okay. The next part of this is I'm going to turn over to Mr. Smedley and let him talk a little bit about senior activities, things that are going on at the high school. We know lots of questions about graduation, prom, seniors going off to college, scholarships. So Mr. Smedley, thank you for being with us, and I'll turn it over to you at this time.
And I want to jump in and just remind everyone, we are going to get to your questions after we let Mr. Smedley talk. I know several of you have questions that are coming in. We're going to get to them. Don't worry.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Hannah.
All right. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I want to start out by reminding all of our seniors to visit the Class of 2020 website. So it's located at angletonisd.net. If you click on the Update Center, you can find the Class of 2020 website. So at that website, we have some very important detailed information for you, and we have answers to a lot of the frequently asked questions. Let me give you some information about graduation. So if we return to school in May, we will conduct graduation as usual on May 29th at 7:30 p.m. at Wildcat Stadium. If it is not safe to conduct graduation in May, we have identified 3 backup dates in the summer. The first one is June 26th. The second one is July the 18th. And the final date is August the 7th. And so we are remaining hopeful that we will be able to celebrate the Class of 2020 on one of those days. We also know that the Senior Scholarship Program is also an important event. And so the Senior Awards Night is currently scheduled for May the 21st at 6:30 p.m. in the high school auditorium. So at Senior Scholarship Awards Night, we'll recognize the top 10%, the top 10 graduates, and including the valedictorian and the salutatorian. Please note that if you have received any scholarships outside of the local scholarship book, we ask that you email Ms. Cindy Martinez, and that's cmartinez@angletonisd.net. And when you email her, please include the name of the scholarship, the amount, and so we can recognize you at the ceremony.
Will you repeat that email address for them again?
Sure, it's cmartinez@angletonisd.net.
Thank you.
Okay. If it's not safe to hold the award ceremony on May the 21st at 6:30 p.m., our backup plan is to have a virtual senior award ceremony on the same day at the same time, and we will recognize our top graduates and scholarship recipients online. We've recently gotten a lot of questions about how students can pick up their cap and gown. And so on next Wednesday, that's April the 22nd, from 9 to 12, Balfour will conduct a drive-through pickup for cap and gown. So if you order a cap and gown, this will be your time to pick up your items. And so we have a specific window of time that's based on your last name. And so again, if you go to the Class of 2020 website, you'll see those times outlined for you based on your last name. The drive-through pickup will be in the back of the school in the bus lane. So you'll need to bring your school ID and your driver's license. And if for any reason you're not able to make it during your designated time, we want you to email Casey Hamlet. That's khamlet@angletonisd.net. Again, that's khamlet@angletonisd.net, and we'll make sure that we'll find a way to get those items to you. Let me briefly talk about diplomas and graduation cords. And diplomas will be handed out soon after our May 29th graduation date, as we've done every year. We will communicate further information as we get closer to that date. We will also make sure that you receive your academic and honor cords before graduation. So again, as we get closer to the ceremony date, we will keep in touch with you and communicate how we will distribute those items. We do know that our senior students enjoy going to prom, and so we want to make sure that you have that opportunity. We have set multiple backup dates for prom in the months of May, June, July, and August. And so we will hold prom as soon as it is safe to do so. The designated dates for prom are May 23rd, June 20th, July 24th, and August the 1st. And you can find these dates on the Class of 2020 webpage. Seniors, also be on the lookout for a Google form link to nominate your classmates for things like Mr. and Mrs. AHS, as well as nominations for your class song, color, and motto. The nomination forms will go out on Monday, April the 20th through Thursday, April the 23rd. So look out for a link. We'll send it out on our high school Facebook page and website. And your senior teachers will also have the ability to send that out through Google Classroom. And then the voting for those items will take place the following week. Senior students, please listen carefully. During your free time, I strongly encourage you to apply for financial aid to help pay for college. On the Class of 2020 webpage, we have a link to a video that explains how to apply. If you need any additional help applying for financial aid, please contact your counselor, Ms. Goldman. Now let's talk a little bit about testing. Students, if you are in a CTE class, we want you to continue to study and prepare for your certification exams. Please get with your CTE teacher for study material. As soon as we return to school, you will have an opportunity to sit for your certification test. For our students in AP classes, the College Board is frequently updating their information on their website. And here's what we know so far about AP testing. The AP test will be online this school year. The test will be about 45 minutes in length. The test dates and review materials are on the College Board website. So students, stay in contact with your AP teacher for review materials and any other information about AP testing. At this time, the SAT testing has been canceled by College Board. The next administration date will be in August. For the latest information about SAT testing, please visit the College Board SAT website. Let me also talk about ACT testing. The last test was scheduled for April the 4th. That has been rescheduled for June the 13th. So students, if you were originally registered for the April 4th ACT test date, you should receive an email from ACT and they will inform you of the instructions on what to do next. Again, the latest information on ACT testing can be found on their website, and that's at www.act.org. Students, there will be no STAR EOC testing due to the COVID-19 virus. So if students complete all graduation course credits this school year, STAR and EOC exams will be waived. Additionally, students in the graduating class of 2020 who have not previously passed any number of STAR EOC exams may participate in an individual graduation committee. And so if that pertains to you, your high school administrator and counselor will reach out to you directly to give you more information about that process. But again, please note that the STAR testing requirements are waived only for this school year only. Students, let me also encourage you to stay on track with all of your assignments from your teachers so you can finish the year strong. If you have the ability to work online, we strongly encourage you to do so. And if you do not have access to the online resources, the printed copies of the materials are available outside the front office Monday through Friday from 9 to 2. If you have any Chromebook or internet issues, please contact Lead Assistant Principal Keith Fuller. And his email address is kfuller@angletonISD.net. Again, that's kfuller, KFULLER @angletonISD.net.
Thank you, Mr. Smedley. And guys, go, all this information is on that Class of 2020 website, which is under our Update Center. So we encourage you to go there. And if information changes, that's where we'll post it. It's the most accurate place to get that information. Thanks again, Mr. Smedley. Mr. Edwards?
Mr. Smedley, I just have a couple of things if you could highlight for us as well. Is we may have some questions about why we would hand out diplomas in May, even though we may not be able to hold a graduation ceremony until June. So could you just talk a little bit about why that is, why diplomas have to be certified, and why some of the kids may need those diplomas and that certification in May. So if you could just speak to that briefly, I would appreciate that.
Sure. So even though we may not be able to have the ceremony until June or July or August, we definitely want to make sure that we get the diplomas into the hands of our students when they need those. And so for students that are applying to college or if you need that diploma, maybe to get a job, we will have those certified, and we'll also have transcripts ready for you, immediately after that May 29th date. And so we definitely feel like that will help our students out in getting those things into their hands when they need it.
Thank you, Mr. Smedley. And then one final thing, if you could speak to, right now we have scheduled, if we have to do a July or August graduation, we currently have that scheduled in Angleton High School gym. And can you just talk about maybe the reasons why, and that, although that is not a final place, that's not a final decision, but a little bit about why that is and what some of the options we'll be looking at that time.
Well, as you know, the summer months are quite hot as we move to July and August. And so we definitely want to make sure everyone is safe. If we can have the graduation at the stadium during the summer months, I mean, I think that's definitely an option that's still on the table. However, if it's extremely hot during those months, then the plan is to have it in the gym, so it will be much cooler, and we can keep everyone safe at that time.
And we understand the gym has limited seating space. We have several options on the table we're discussing to allow families to have people in there and be able to take pictures and enjoy that experience. We also have had conversations about looking at larger indoor places in our area that we could possibly move graduation to if that's what we have to do during that time. But right now, we wanted to get an announcement out. And so at this time right now, that's where they will be. But that is by no means a final decision. And we will try to meet the needs of all families when it comes to graduation. We want families and their graduates to be able to celebrate that time and to be able to do so properly. And so we just want to communicate that's what's going on there. Okay. Hannah, I know there's a couple questions, but I have just two other things I want to just touch on real quick, and then we'll start answering questions. The next one is about pre-K and and kindergarten registration. At this time, that registration has been postponed. However, starting Monday, we are asking parents in our community, if you have a child that you believe will be attending our pre-K program next year, to go online and fill out a survey so that we can begin to get the numbers of students who will be in our pre-K classes next year. And that way we can make sure we're planning appropriately for the start of school. Please also remember, currently pre-K is half a day and is held exclusively at Central Elementary. Next year, pre-K will be full day, and students will go to the campus that they are zoned to. And so if you live in the Frontier zone, your child will attend pre-K in Frontier. If you live in the South Side zone, your child will attend pre-K in South Side. And so that is a little different as we start full day pre-K next year. But again, if you believe your child is going to be attending pre-K in Angleton School District next year, we would ask that you fill out that survey, which will be up next Monday on our webpage. The last thing I have to talk about is just real quickly about student award programs, non-seniors. Campus principals are working on plans for those things now, and they will announce plans for that in the upcoming week or so. The last thing is about grade promotion. How will students be promoted to the next grade? First off, by saying high school students have to get credits in their class, which means they have to pass their class to get the credits. Once they have so many credits, then they're moved on to the next grade level. However, in grades K through 8, it's a little bit different. Currently, every year up until this, grade promotion has been based on the grades a student receives on their report card. However, at our next board meeting on April 28th, we will be, I am asking the board to suspend that, and instead we will be basing grade promotion on 4 factors. Those 4 factors will be the recommendation of the student's teacher, the student's grade in each subject, of course, so grades will still play a part, but they won't be the only thing that determines that decision. The student score on assessment instruments, to the extent applicable, and then any other district academic information as we determine. We have a group that's working on getting some more details about those 4 things. We should have that out next week so that teachers can start to look at grade promotion decisions for students But again, it will not be based solely on a student's grade in a class. Okay. That's all I had. I know we have some questions. Hannah, you've already sent me something. I messed something up. What did I mess up?
Well, we just want to reiterate those subjects of when they're turned in. I think at the elementary level, we have math and science this week, and I think the English language is the even week. So just making sure, again, your teachers are the best resources, and they're going to give you that information, your principals. So if you have questions about that, go to them, ask them, email or phone if you can. But that information is on our extended learning program, extended learning website. So it's already up there. That's the best place to get it. We do have a few questions. Anthony, Mr. Smedley, sorry. I'm going to ask you a little personal there. I'm going to ask you a couple about high school, specifically seniors. One is, what about Project Grad for seniors?
Oh yeah, right now we've been working closely with our Project Grad committee. And so the plan is to have Project Grad immediately after our graduation ceremony. So, whenever it is safe to do that, we've identified the days for the graduation ceremony. And so that immediately after the ceremony, we would go right into Project Grad as we normally do.
So the plan is to have it if we can, and make sure more than anything that it's still safe that we do it. So thanks for that. Also, what if as a senior, we were hoping to letter in a sport? Is that still possible? Lettering.
To letter in a sport, I think I'd have to get back on that question.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me just, Ms. Chalmers, that's probably a question that's best addressed through Coach Britton, the athletic director, and those child's coaches. And so we would ask that they direct those questions there, or if it's a band director or theater or something like that, but talk to their extracurricular coach or leader, and they can answer those questions for you.
One more about seniors. Can senior graduates decorate their caps?
Traditionally, we have not allowed our seniors to decorate their caps, but I think this time, this is a special group. So I'm quite okay with letting the seniors decorate their caps. I think as long as we keep everything school appropriate, and, but before the ceremony, we typically do a quick inspection of the gowns and the caps. And so, I think it's quite okay for their students to decorate their caps for graduation.
So this year, but maybe not next year, though, right? Just keep that in mind, juniors. Just want to make sure we say that, because some things that we do this year may not be what we do next year.
That's true. Depends on the group.
Yeah. One more question I can see right now. Can we still order cap and gowns and yearbooks?
Yes, definitely for the cap and gowns, go to balfour.com. And when we have the cap and gown pickup next Wednesday, I've been instructed by Balfour that if they order online, they will have the cap and gown available for them on that same pickup day. Another option is to come with $65 in cash, and that is you can also get a cap and gown that way.
Again, I think that is also answered on our website for class of 2020.
Yes.
So make sure you check that out, balfour.com if you need to. Yearbooks, I think that they could probably email Miss Adams. Is that correct?
That's correct. Miss Adams will be the best person to get us that information. And I'm sure we can still order those things as well. So we can get something out for our students on our Facebook page to let them know how to do those things. Okay,
check Facebook, guys, if you have those questions about that, and he'll get you in contact for the yearbooks. All right, going into some questions that are more general for the district. Why are we turning in and grading schoolwork, but other districts around us are not requiring work to be turned in? They're using grades from the last 9 weeks versus us. I know you talked a little bit already about that, but that's a question that's come up a couple times.
That's a great question. Let me first of all say, I think Mr. Smedley is probably going to be the most popular person in Angleton after he made that decision about allowing senior caps. And I want to see him allow them this year and then tell the juniors next year they can't do it. But I guess that's a bridge we'll cross when we come to it. I think the question, the question is about why some school districts are not taking grades while others are. Let me just say this, is that's a individual school district's decision. I'm in weekly, if not 2 or 3 times a week, contact with the other superintendents in the area. I can tell you some of the school districts are taking grades, some of the school districts are not taking grades. I can tell you some of the school districts are taking many more grades than we are and have a much more strict and grading policy that they're doing right now. We just think it's the decision that's best for Angleton. I think one of the things that I really thought about is I thought if we did not have students take grades in something, that we would have a lot of students just check out and not do work. I'm not talking about other school districts that have chosen to do that and what they may or may not be going through, but I just felt that that was a really strong reason to take something from students. I think the second thing I would say is we want to recognize students' efforts, and a great way to recognize those efforts is to give them grades for their work that they're doing, and that way we're able to recognize the efforts that they're doing. The third thing I would say to you is one of the things that we are also doing in terms of determining grades for the end of the school year is that grades from the first 3 quarters, the first 3 grading periods, are going to count 95% of a student's grades. Only what's the grades taken from this period right now will only count 5%. And those numbers are there so that if a kid's doing good work, they can help their grades, but it really shouldn't hurt their grades. And so the majority of a kid's grade for the year, 95% of it will come from the first 3 weeks or the first 3 grading periods of this school year. Let me talk briefly about a couple of exceptions to that rule. The student is a dual credit student at Brazosport Junior College, taking those classes. That grades are determined by Brazosport College, and they're taking them as normal. But I believe our students are doing good work there, and that's not something that should be a real problem. The other difference there would be a high school student who is enrolled in a semester-only class. A typical example may be health or government or economics. If that's the case, 70% of the student's grade would come from the first grading period. Only 30% would come from this period that we're out right now. And so grades are, like I said, in Angleton, what we chose to do. And I'm going to tell you, I'm the person who made the final decision, and so I'll stand on that, is that we want grades to be at a minimum level. We want student work to be recognized and rewarded. And we felt that was a good incentive to make sure our students stay engaged. One last thing I would say is we've also spoken with our teachers is if a kid is having trouble on a graded assignment, please speak to your child's teacher. They will provide other opportunities, or we want to make sure we're providing opportunities for our students to be successful. And so that's the guidance we've given, and we want to see that. And so again, if you have issues or your child's not able to, you don't understand something, or they're struggling with an area, contact your child's teacher. Again, we are here to help and make this situation as stressless as possible.
And that is probably why we're giving more assignments than even that are graded. Is that correct? Just because it's all about keeping them engaged and learning, because right. We don't need a slide as much as
absolutely. We don't want to slide. And the other thing is there are still learning objectives in each class and each grade level that still haven't been addressed yet. And our kids aren't excused from those. They're going to need to have those skills when they go to the next grade level next year. And so we've got to continue to engage our kids and give them work so that they continue to learn and be prepared as we go into next year as well.
We had one of our viewers ask a question a little bit following up on that is, I know we are in uncharted waters, but with this current online curriculum, are we really preparing our kids for the next grade year?
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that what we're doing right now is as good or robust as if a student was in a classroom with a teacher. We recognize that that's not the case. This is very different times. I think we're doing a very good job, but we're working through this as best we can. I think that's one of the reasons you heard me say earlier is that we may be looking to adjust our school calendar and bringing our kids back a little bit early next year, and then spending 3 or 4 weeks, probably up until the Labor Day holiday, reviewing the things or working on the things that are missed during this time, and then starting with the objectives for next year after Labor Day. We understand that's a situation and we're going to be working, trying to make the best of it in any way possible to help kids learn during this time and to be as successful as possible. Again, we know this is very different. We recognize those challenges, and we're working on solutions as best we can to meet the needs of our students.
We had one parent ask if they would like to know if the online learning would still be an option for next school year, even if we do come back. Say if their child is learning better in a homeschool type situation, but still through the AISD district, would they be able to?
At this time, I don't know that I can give a complete answer to that. I think that will depend on where we are with the virus situation. And also guidance we get from TEA about student attendance. Currently, right now, TEA has given all school districts in the state of Texas a waiver so that kids don't have to be in classrooms, and we're still able to count them as attending our schools. I think that waiver also goes forward through the rest of this school year. So that if we were to open, a student could choose not to come to school and stay at home and learn, and they could still be an AISD student. If TEA chooses to not give that waiver, which is a very possible thing, they typically don't do that. And I think if we are at a point where we've recovered from the virus, in which schools fully open, then I do not believe that will be an option for people. We cannot get funded for homeschool, and I don't think that would be allowed to do. And I don't think that's something that we would probably, as a school district, would pursue to do at that time. And so, again, we would say kids have to be in our buildings and enrolled through AISD to be able to engage in learning. Now, there are some exceptions to that, and I don't want to spend a lot of time getting into that. But the basic answer is if we go back to fully opening schools, would most likely be no. That would not be able to happen. However, while we're in the virus pandemic situation we're in right now and schools don't open fully, that is a possibility. And so as we get closer to the start of next year, we should be able to answer that question more directly.
I'm just going to give us a heads up that we're probably going to go over that 6:15 mark just a little bit, but we got to get through some of these questions because they are good. What safety measures will be taken when we do have students come back?
Let me just say, again, I'm going to talk more about our phases, rolling kids, when we're going to allow people to come back into the building. We're going to be looking at a lot of different information when students come back in. The first thing we're going to be looking at is where are we at with the pandemic? And where do we have people, especially teaching staff or staff in the district, where are they living to come back in, to come to work every day? If they are living in a more highly infected area than we are here in Angleton, we may not allow them to come back immediately. I think other things we will look at is, have they been in a house, or has a student or a staff member been symptomatic, coughing, high fever, and have they gone through that 14-day period from being removed from that from when they would come back in? There exist possibilities that, depending on guidelines that were given or what's going on in the situation, we may have to take daily temperatures of our staff and our students before they come back to work. Currently, we have our protocols for Angleton ISD and how we handle this. Hannah, we may want to make those public if we haven't done so.
They are on our update center.
Okay.
Yes,
and so you can go there and see those protocols. Those protocols will be followed. And then as we were to reopen again, we would reopen in phases in order to make this as safe as possible for when our students and our staff do come back. And again, we will be putting those out, making those public probably in the next week or so.
Will the elementary schools be lending out Chromebooks? I'm assuming they mean to elementary kids.
What I would say with this, and I've had some conversations with principals, is let me say two things. A Chromebook is only good if someone has internet access. If you don't have internet access in your home, a Chromebook, this is the example I give. I might as well be giving you a rock because it doesn't do anything. It's not able to get online. It basically does nothing. So if you don't have internet access in your home, then there's really not a need for the Chromebook. However, if you have a special situation in which you may have internet in your home and there exists the possibility that you might request access for a Chromebook from the school district, what I would ask you to do is contact your campus principal. I've spoken with them. We have given them the leeway in which to talk to parents and make decisions about giving a Chromebook. I think one of the things we'll be looking at again is, do you have internet access in your home? Tell us why you need one. I hear this all the time. Well, I have internet access and I have a computer, but I don't want my kid to use my computer. I'm not sure we're going to give you a Chromebook in that situation. However, I also hear this. I have one computer and I have to use it, and I have 3 kids who've got to do schoolwork. You need to contact your campus principal, because I believe that working through them, there's ways that we could possibly help with that situation. And so I would ask you to contact your campus principal. I will also tell you, we are working with some groups in the community to kind of help with this situation as well. And I'm hoping by the end of this week, first part of next week, we'll be able to talk with other ways, other opportunities that our students can get internet access some way. And so we're continuing to work on that. I would say this. I'll just quickly share about this. We have explored lots of ideas and lots of ways to make this happen, to get internet access into all our students' homes. We have placed an order for over 200 hotspots. I can tell you, if we get that order in by June, we'll be doing good. I can also tell you that every school district in the Houston area, and most likely every school district in the state of Texas, has got the same order in. I was talking with the superintendent of a large district in Houston. Told you we have a need for 200 hotspots. They have a need for 20,000. And so there's just a high demand on those things. I can also tell you we have explored looking to possibly put up some towers and provide free internet access to certain aspects of our community. But that's not something that's going to take place in the next 2 weeks, the next 6 weeks. That's a more long-term discussion we're having. And so we're very aware that internet access is a huge issue. And we probably work on it, if not daily, at least 3 to 4 times a week, of how can we solve those problems. So again, if you have internet access in your home, contact your campus principal, and they can work through possibly giving you solutions to that. I want to make sure I'm not guaranteeing Chromebook access, or we're going to give out Chromebooks to anybody, but I think working with your campus principal, that they can help you with those situations, or possibly help you with those situations.
We have 4 more questions.
Okay.
I'm going to get through them because I know Miss Ado needs to jump on.
Absolutely.
Who do we talk to about elementary kids continuing from the PAT program to the GT program and might need to pick a new school?
Okay, that's a great question. I will tell you this, TEA gave guidance yesterday on this issue. And I will get that guidance to Ms. Neal, our GT director, and Dr. Stevens, our assistant superintendent of curriculum instruction. And they will be getting information about that very, very soon. But again, we just got new guidance yesterday. And so before we give that information, we want to make sure we understand and implement those things, because they have given some waivers on those issues. And so just hold on, but that information will be coming very soon.
And it sounds like the contact person, main one, would be Miss Neal, Angela Neal. But if you can't reach her because you don't know her contact information, your current teacher, if you're in the program already.
That or your campus principal.
Or your campus principal. Is it only for pre-K students that will be required to go to their zone school next year? You talked about pre-K, and I think the question, just making sure that that's answered.
I think is the question, I'm assuming, Hannah, about transfers?
It's not specifically saying that, but it is saying, it's kind of, I think, piggybacking off of, you said pre-K will go to their zone school next year. So I think they're just asking if that's just across the board.
So let me just say this, if a student is in our bilingual program, those classes will continue to be held at Central Elementary. All other pre-K students will go to their zoned campus. The Angleton ISD transfer policy will continue. And so, again, the way that works is you put in a request for transfer, and then we make determinations based on class sizes, enrollment in the school. Those, were the other factors that we looked there. Where do other siblings go? What programs they're in? Those kinds of things. Those things will continue as normal. There will be no change in those areas. I'm not guaranteeing transfers, but that process will stay the same.
Two questions that are seem to be high school driven. So Mr. Smedley, you may need to jump on. I think I have the answer, or at least some answer to this one. What about the sports banquet? Will it be postponed or canceled? And I do want to point out that we do have an AISD event status calendar on our update center that tracks all of the events that we've had throughout the year. So go to the update center and look at the event status calendar, and that'll give you information about events you may have had to be postponed or canceled. But if you know, Mr. Smedley, want to answer?
Well, let me hop on and kind of, and then if Mr. Smedley needs to talk, is that calendar is through April. We will be updating through May very shortly as we get closer to the end of the month of April. We can't give you a direct response as to athletic banquets. That'll be in consultation with Coach Britton. I will just say if the COVID crisis continues, there exists a possibility that sports banquets, and I'm sure that goes along with band banquets, things like that, will very likely be canceled. But again, no decisions are final, and we'll work through the sponsors about how to make those decisions. But again, we're not going to allow large groups of people. We're going to continue to follow the protocols of Angleton ISD. Currently, that protocol calls for no more than 10 people to be spaced out 6 feet in a room. There is no way right now that banquets of any kind will be allowed to happen unless we get away from those protocols.
The other question about high school, we already kind of answered it, but it is, my senior was scheduled to receive a Letterman jacket for CTE classes in the spring. What's the plan for that?
Yeah,
go ahead, Anthony. You go.
Well, we started working on a plan for any kids that were scheduled to receive a letter jacket. One of the issues that we will run into is you have to be sized for those jackets, and so at this time it's just not safe for students to come in and try on the same jackets and those kind of things. So we are staying in close contact with the company that distributes those jackets for us, and so as soon as it's safe for us to schedule a time for kids to come in and get sized, we will definitely communicate that out at that time.
And when we get the answer, again, we'll put it on that class of 2020 website on the update center.
Yeah.
Last question before we go to our Spanish section. If we go back to school, will we be allowed to wear masks?
I had that question, yes, but I don't see any reason why we would not be allowed to wear masks. I will also say this. It's going to be very difficult for me to make a decision that allows our kids to come back if they have to continue to wear masks to do that. That being said, if a parent or a child chooses to do that on their own, I don't think we would have any objection to that at all.
That is it for the questions that we've received. I'm going to have Ms. Macedo, if you'll join us back in to the webinar. And she can get us started in our Spanish portion.
Hello. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Macedo, yo soy la directora de Central y esta tarde voy a traducir la información que ha conductado y nos ha informado el superintendente Edwards, el señor Smedley, el director de Angleton High School y la señora Chalmers. La primera pregunta que hemos tenido frecuentemente es ¿cuándo vamos a volver a la escuela? En este momento, el gobernador Abbott ha cerrado todas las escuelas hasta el 4 de mayo. Si el gobernador extiende esa orden, entonces Angleton ISD seguirá las reglas que él ponga. Si el pedido no se extiende, entonces el distrito va a considerar diferentes elementos antes de regresar. Uno de los elementos que vamos a ver es la curva del COVID-19. ¿Cuántos casos hay en el condado? ¿Cuántos casos tenemos con nuestros estudiantes o nuestras familias de Angleton ISD? También lo que vamos a estar viendo es el número de los casos que están ocurriendo diariamente. Y también vamos a tener que ver a ver qué es lo que está seguro, cómo es que podemos seguir clases, pero también todavía tener la seguridad de nuestros estudiantes y nuestras familias en mente. Y también todo lo vamos a hacer coordinado con el condado de Brazoria, la ciudad de Angleton, y también vamos a ver lo que dice la CDC. Si AISD vuelve a abrir, vamos a tener un plan estratégico con diferentes niveles de retorno para diferentes grupos de personas. Eso se puede ver muy diferente. Tal vez será que regresen unas maestras, unos diferentes empleados. En este momento no sabemos muy bien exactamente cómo lo vamos a hacer, pero lo que queremos asegurarnos es que va a ser algo seguro. Un plan que tenemos es tal vez regresar a la escuela una semana antes de lo que teníamos planeado. Es algo que está viendo el superintendente Edwards y eso será una opción, pero regresamos dependiendo qué es lo que nos dice el gobernador Abbott. Otra pregunta que hemos tenido es si los niños van a tener que regresar a la escuela. Si regresaremos, si usted no elige que regrese su hijo a la escuela, entonces su estudiante o su hijo le vamos a pedir que siga trabajando de su hogar. Mientras eso ocurra, vamos a seguir con eso. Tenemos la opción de lo que tenemos ahorita, que los alumnos pueden seguir aprendiendo de la casa. Algo que hablamos, el señor Edwards habló sobre fue las guías de los grados de nuestros alumnos, las calificaciones. Las calificaciones a partir de la semana de esta semana tomarán grados en 4 materias esenciales de la primaria. Uno en lectura, estudios sociales. Esos 2 clases les van a dar grados en la semana par. En la semana de matemáticas y ciencias sería del número impar. En Angleton Junior High y en la high school va a ser un poco diferente. Ahí sí tienen diferentes tareas dependiendo de los periodos. En el periodo 1, 3, 5 y 7 va a ser un grado. De los periodos 2, 4, 6 y 8, esos grados van a dar en las semanas de par. Igual como las escuelas primarias, las secundarias lo van a hacer por periodos, en semanas par y impar, pero en la primaria va a ser matemáticas y ciencias, lectura y estudios sociales. Sí, también en la secundaria se asignarán más tareas de las obligatorias para calificar. Necesitamos que los estudiantes estén continuando a aprender y que cumplan con todos los objetivos del nivel del grado. Las maestras les van a dar comentarios, podrá ser en el Google Classroom por la computadora. También lo más importante es que ustedes están informados que los trabajos que les están dando a los alumnos, estas calificaciones están diseñadas para mantener a los estudiantes interesados y aprendiendo los conocimientos y habilidades esenciales de Texas, que nosotros llamamos a los TEKS. Las calificaciones están en un nivel mínimo y están diseñadas para permitir que los estudiantes y los padres demuestren un aprendizaje exitosos mientras que ellos estén en el hogar. Si usted necesita más información o para agarrar los grados de los alumnos, esto lo puede agarrar en Skyward. Esta semana les van a mandar lo que llamamos los Progress Reports, que son los reportes de progreso. Y ahí a la información que le van a dar van a venir en 3 maneras. Si su hijo está comprometido y está progresando, si su hijo no está o hija no está comprometido y no está progresando, o si sí están comprometidos pero no están progresando. Si usted tiene cualquier pregunta o duda, por favor no dude en comunicarse con el director de su hijo o hija para que le ayude con esto. sí sabemos que entendemos que puede sentirse abrumado por la cantidad o el contenido del trabajo de su hijo. Por favor, anime a su hijo y a su hija que hagan lo más mejor que puedan. Y si usted tiene cualquier pregunta, comuníquese con el maestro de la materia y exprese sus preguntas con ellos. Recuerde que nuestros maestros tienen un horario de oficina virtual donde sus alumnos pueden ir enfrente de la maestra o el maestro para agarrar apoyo o ayuda. Sí sabemos que esto es muy, muy diferente, pero les pedimos que por favor anime a su hijo a hacer lo mejor que ellos pueden y que pida ayuda si es necesario. Si su hijo o hija necesita más trabajo, nuevamente comuníquese con el maestro de la materia o el director o directora de su escuela para poder darle más trabajo. También hemos tenido la pregunta de cómo van a regresar los trabajos los alumnos. Si ellos ahorita lo están haciendo sobre la computadora, eso se entrega automáticamente. Las maestras y los alumnos hacen este tipo de trabajo todos los días en sus salones, entonces sus hijos saben que si están en Google Classroom pueden entregar los trabajos de esta manera. También les hemos preguntado a los padres o los alumnos que nos manden fotos a sus maestros o maestras sobre la materia que han terminado. Hemos tenido la pregunta que si es posible de que los autobuses que tienen la comida, si ellos podrán ahorita en ese momento también pasar el trabajo a los alumnos que no puedan ir tal vez a la escuela. En este momento, esa no es una opción, porque sí tenemos preocupaciones de seguridad para nuestros empleados y para nuestras familias. En este momento, ese no es algo que podemos hacer o algo que estemos viendo. Como lo ha mencionado, si usted tiene cualquier pregunta, por favor comuníquese con las maestras de la materia o con su director. Los que van a graduar en este año de 2020, el Angleton AISD ha puesto un sitio de web que se llama Class of 2020 y ese es el sitio donde usted puede agarrar más información. Hemos tenido muchas preguntas sobre la graduación. Si regresamos a la escuela en mayo, la graduación ahorita sigue como siempre, que será el 29 de mayo a las 7:30 en el estadio Wildcat. Si no es seguro, como ahorita no estamos seguros de lo que va a suceder, sí tenemos 3 fechas identificadas donde tal vez tendremos la graduación. El 26 de junio es una opción en el estadio de Wildcat a las 7:30. El 18 de julio es una opción, eso será en el gimnasio de Angleton High School. Y tenemos otra opción que es el 7 de agosto en la high school a las 7:30. Entonces sí tenemos 3 opciones por si es que la fecha original no es algo que podamos hacer. Programas de becas para los que van a graduar este año. La noche de premios ahorita está para el 21 de mayo a las 6:30 de la tarde en el auditorio en Angleton High School. Todos los beneficiarios de las becas locales serán notificados durante esta ceremonia. También vamos a reconocer a los estudiantes, los mejores 10 más graduados para la clase de 2020. También vamos a incluir el valedictorian y el salutatorian. Esta fecha sí está elegida para este evento. Si no es posible de que podamos ir al auditorio, sí va a ser algo virtual donde como quiera podamos reconocer a nuestros alumnos. Si usted ha recibido una beca fuera de la escuela o fuera del libro, como se dice, les pedimos que por favor envíe un correo electrónico a la señora Cindy Martínez. Eso puede ser a cmartinez@angleton.isd.net. Por favor, incluye el número de la beca, la cantidad de la beca y para que también podamos reconocer a su alumno en la ceremonia.
Will you repeat your email address, Ms. Macedo?
El correo electrónico es cmartinez el @angleton.isd.net. Puede mandar su información allí. La toga y el birrete, Balfour todavía va a tener una recolección hasta el miércoles 22 de abril de 9 a las 12. Si usted ordenó una toga y birrete, este será el momento donde usted pueda recoger sus artículos. Les pedimos que vengan durante el periodo del tiempo especificado. Ahorita tenemos a los apellidos de A a H de 9 a 10 de la mañana. De 10 a 11 va a ser para los apellidos I a P. Y de Q a Z de las 11 a las 12. Va a haber una línea de manejo. Se ubicará esta línea atrás de la escuela en el carril de los autobuses. Por favor, traiga su identificación de la escuela o licencia de conducir. Si no puede hacerlo durante esa hora, por favor, mándele un correo electrónico a Casey Hamlet, es Hamlet, HAMLET, @angleton.isd.net. De nuevo, la toga y el birrete se puede recoger el 22 de abril de las 9 a las 12. La línea va a estar ubicada atrás de la escuela donde están los autobuses. Las diplomas. Las diplomas se van a entregar un poco después de la fecha de graduación del 29 de mayo, como lo hemos hecho en todos los años anteriores. Más información será comunicada en esta fecha posterior a cuando sepamos todo lo de la graduación. Los cordones que se ponen los alumnos durante la graduación, todos los estudiantes que obtengan cordones de honor o académicos, los van a recibir antes de nuestra ceremonia de graduación. Esta información se va a ser comunicada, cómo los van a distribuir, los cables, toda esa información se la van a dar acerca de la graduación, acerca de la fecha de la graduación. Ahorita hemos también tenido muchas preguntas sobre el baile de prom. Hemos establecido varias fechas para el baile de prom para los meses de mayo, junio, julio y agosto. Realizamos que este baile es muy importante para nuestros alumnos. Ahorita tenemos las 4 opciones, es el 23 de mayo en el centro de Dow a las 8 de la noche, el 20 de junio en el mismo lugar a las 8 de la noche, o tal vez el 24 de julio, y esto va a ser en Angleton High School. Y también tenemos otra fecha que tal vez tendremos que usar el 1 de agosto. Les queremos pedir a todos nuestros alumnos que van a graduar este año que por favor tomen tiempo de continuar a solicitar ayuda financiera en www.fasfa.gov. Les recomendamos que solicite ayuda financiera para ayudar a pagar por la universidad. El sitio web de clase 2020 es la página que también tiene más información. Si usted necesita cualquier ayuda, por favor comuníquese con su consejera, que es la señora Goldman. Y a la señora Goldman se pueden comunicar con ella a ygoldman@angleton.isd.net. De nuevo, por favor, les pedimos, si usted necesita esa asistencia de FAFSA, por favor, haga todo lo posible para ponerse en esas páginas, o si no, comuníquese con la señora Goldman. Si usted tiene un estudiante de CTE, por favor, debe de seguir estudiando y preparándose para sus exámenes de certificación. Comuníquese con su maestro de CTE, lo que llamamos la CTE, para obtener materia de estudio tan pronto como regresamos a la escuela. Usted tendrá la oportunidad de presentarse a sus exámenes de certificación. Entonces, por favor, sigan estudiando porque sus exámenes todavía van a existir. College Board, las pruebas de AP, ahorita la frecuencia todavía está la información todavía está para todos los estudiantes. Las pruebas van a durar 45 minutos. Las fechas de los exámenes y las materias de revisión están disponibles en el sitio de College Board. Unas sí se han cancelado, pero sí hay otras fechas disponibles para que su alumno lo pueda tomar. SAT y ACT, esas fechas las hemos cambiado para el 13 de junio. La última fecha fue el 4 de abril, pero las hemos cambiado para el 13 de junio. Por favor, encuentra esa información en la página web www.act.org. Sí, la última vez que tuvimos el cuestionario, sí nos habíamos informado de que STAR no lo vamos a tomar este año escolar. Estoy pasando mis notas, excusas. Hemos tenido muchas familias que han preguntado sobre Chromebooks. En este momento, el distrito no está solicitando o estamos prestando Chromebooks. Pero si usted tiene una situación en que usted tal vez necesita apoyo, por favor, comuníquese con su director o directora para ver si tal vez será posible darle un Chromebook. Pero de nuevo, si les quiero decir que no es necesariamente 100% de que lo va a recibir, pero tal vez es una opción dependiendo de la situación de usted. Los que están en la high school, si usted necesita un Chromebook, por favor, contáctese con el director Keith Fuller. A él le pueden mandar un correo electrónico a kfuller, K-F-U-L-L-E-R, @angletonISD.net. Ahí es donde usted puede, tal vez si usted está en la secundaria, en Angleton High School, donde puede agarrar un Chromebook. Los paquetes que están imprimidos cada semana, esos todavía siguen, las copias siguen estando en todas las escuelas. De las 9 a las 10, disculpe, tenemos de lunes a viernes abiertas las escuelas en la parte de enfrente. Tenemos diferentes horarios, de las 9 a las 10 para el apellido AAF, de las 10 a las 11 para los apellidos de GAL, de las 12 a la 1 para los apellidos MAR y de 1 a las 2 a los apellidos de la S a la Z. Si usted necesita recursos impresos y no puede llegar a la escuela, por favor comuníquese con la maestra o con el director lo más pronto posible. Vamos entrando ahorita estamos terminando la tercera semana de trabajos. La registración de pre-kinder, ahorita el 20 de abril vamos a mandar una encuesta de preinscripción en línea y esto es para que usted no tenga que ir a las escuelas. Ahorita lo que queremos hacer es ver cuántos alumnos vamos a tener. Por favor, llene esa encuesta y la puede mandar la encuesta para que nosotros sabemos a qué número aproximado de estudiantes vamos a tener para el año escolar 2021. Ahorita la escuela de verano, en este momento no se ha tomado una decisión. Sin embargo, estamos trabajando en un plan y debemos anunciar algo muy pronto. Igual, para el próximo año, ahorita estamos planeando a terminar este año escolar, pero sí tenemos en mente lo que va a suceder el próximo año. Como mencioné, tal vez vamos a empezar una semana anteriormente, pero eso todo va a depender a ver cuándo regresamos y hay muchas otras cosas que tomar en cuenta. Normalmente al fin del año tenemos programas de premios para nuestros estudiantes. Los directores de cada escuela ahorita están trabajando en eso y ojalá le podemos dar información brevemente mientras que todavía sigamos trabajando con esto para poder darles la mejor información. Pero ahorita todavía estamos trabajando en todo eso. Sí queremos hablar sobre la promoción de grado. Ahorita la promoción de grado en la escuela secundaria continuará basándose en los créditos de los alumnos. Entonces, dependiendo cuántos créditos obtiene su alumno. Pero si su estudiante está en K o pre-kinder al 8º grado, vamos a agarrar la recomendación de su profesor o de su maestra. Vamos a ver la calificación que tiene su estudiante en cada materia y también vamos a tomar en cuenta todo eso para ver si vamos a tener la promoción del próximo año. Cualquier información académica necesaria la vamos a seguir vaciada lo va a determinar el distrito. El maestro de su hijo o hija estará en contacto con usted. Si alguien en la escuela no se ha contactado con usted, por favor, márquele usted a la escuela para agarrar más información. Comuníquese con el director de la escuela si tiene cualquier otra pregunta.
Thank you, Ms. Macedo. That was a lot. Thank you so much for going through all that information. I do want to remind all of our viewers, if you joined in and don't speak Spanish, we did all of this in English in the first almost full hour. So you can go back and watch the recording of it on Facebook or YouTube, and you can definitely get the same information if you weren't understanding her in Spanish. And then also, if you missed some of it, you can just watch it at any point, Spanish or English, that way. We didn't really get any questions as of now. Specifically for that, but I think it's important that we maybe touch on some of those really key ones that came in during the first part of the webinar. Could you maybe point out why we are still making them turn in grades while other school districts are not maybe doing that in the area? And Ms. Edwards, if you want to give her the answer, I'm not sure. Maria, if you remember, you're good.
Go ahead, Mr. Edwards.
No, go ahead. I think, again, Hannah, I would go back and just say, we just feel it's the best thing for our students in Angleton. We think there are districts that are making people turn in grades. We think we know there are districts make students not having to do grades. We know there are districts that are having to turn in grades. We know there are districts that have a much more rigorous process than we do. We just want to recognize students' work. We want to continue to motivate and make sure students are doing their work. And make sure that students are continuing in the learning process during this time. And that we recognize that learning that they're doing and give them feedback and responses to that. And so those are the biggest reasons why. And if Ms. Macedo maybe wants to give that answer for our Spanish viewers.
Please.
Hemos tenido preguntas sobre qué es la razón de que los alumnos tengan que seguir entregando trabajo y qué es la razón en que todavía estamos dando grados. Sí hay diferentes distritos que que tienen diferentes opciones. Ahorita en este tiempo, Angleton ISD ha decidido aceptar trabajo y dar a los estudiantes trabajo para que ellos sigan aprendiendo todavía mientras que nosotros estemos en casa. Nuestros maestros están disponibles y lo que queremos hacer es todavía que ellos estén trabajando y que sigan aprendiendo aunque estemos en este COVID-19.
I think, could you also mention the class of 2020 website on the Update Center, especially for those seniors who have all those questions about Letterman jackets, that yes, that question's not answered, but it will get answered at some point on there. And then also, if they have questions, they can get some of that information there. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Maria, if you could repeat that website. Go ahead, sorry.
Hemos tenido varias preguntas sobre los que están graduando este año. Toda esta información, tenemos una página web para esos alumnos y está debajo si van a la página web del distrito, es el clase de 2020, ahí es donde puede usted agarrar más información.
The best people they can contact if they have questions, again, are your principals or your teachers, correct? Will you repeat that?
Si usted tiene cualquier pregunta, por favor, no duden en llamarle a las maestras, maestros o a los directores de su escuela.
And I think maybe one of the other ones that we might want to answer is, will elementary schools be lending out Chromebooks? How that process is?
De nuevo, sí les recuerdo que los Chromebooks ahorita es dependiendo de la situación que usted tenga, pero en este momento no estamos 100% dando los Chromebooks. Si usted tiene cualquier pregunta, favor, háganos el favor de comunicarse con su director o directora.
Is there anything, Mr. Smedley or Mr. Edwards, that you think Ms. Macedo needs to reiterate?
No, I don't think so. Thank you, Ms. Macedo, so much for making yourself available and helping us out with this. We know it's a very valuable service to our community. And again, thank you very much for doing that for us.
Muchas gracias a todos los padres por todo el apoyo que nos están dando en este tiempo. Regreso, si ustedes tienen cualquier pregunta, duda, por favor, comuníquense con nosotros.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hannah, I would just, before we end it here, I just want to give some thank yous. Obviously, I want to thank the people that have helped with this broadcast. I forgot to mention Brittany Blanchard at the start of this. Her work is absolutely invaluable, and thank you very much. Also, Hannah, Anthony, Maria, Lauren, thank you very much for the work you do here. And thank you very much for helping us get this program, this session out. Also, Jeff Stout, our technology director, does a tremendous job and has just done incredible work during while we've been out during this time. And so we appreciate him. I appreciate him and his team very, very much. And then just a couple of other thank yous. I want to say thank you to our staff. We continue to have maintenance, custodial. Some of our staff work daily to continue to keep the school district up and running. We continue to have people in the business office, continue to pay bills, continue to get payroll out to people. And so just thank you very, very much to Ms. Cox and her team for all of that. It's very valuable to the members of our school district. I want to say thank you to all the principals and all the teachers and all the staff. Again, they are just doing incredible work. I very much appreciate it, very much recognize the work that they're doing. I would simply say out there in the community, I believe the first week of May is Teacher Appreciation. I appreciate our staff and what the job the teachers are doing, and I hope we're able to communicate, everyone will be able to communicate just how much we appreciate our staff at this time. Finally, the last group I want to say thank you to is our students and our parents and our community members. Angleton, one of the great things about our school district and about our city and our community is that we all band together and work through difficult times and support each other. That is no different at this time, and you really see it during this crisis. So thank you to our students, thank you to our parents as we navigate during this difficult time. Again, I think everybody's doing a wonderful job. Is it perfect? No, but we're working very hard to try to fix those problems. We'll continue to fix the problems that come up. Let us know about the situations you're having so that we can help you. But again, I think everybody's done a tremendous job to be able to turn around how we deliver public education in such a short period of time. And so it's just an amazing thing that our community has done. And thank you to everybody for that. And so, Hannah, that's all I have. If there's anything else we need to address, I will be happy to do it. But again, thank you to everybody for listening. And if you need any help, again, don't hesitate to contact us during this time. Okay. Hannah, anything else? Okay, I'm supposed to smile now, so I'm going to smile real big. So as we sign off, again, thank you, everybody, and have a good evening.